My brother ran out of his wedding as fast as he could after discovering his fiancée invited our mother to the ceremony without his permission. At first, my dad could handle her, but when she started making comments about how I wanted to be like his wife, he had enough. She quickly moved on, in quotes, with a guy who already had 2 kids, and for a while, they had shared custody. But when my dad remarried, she completely lost it, calling his new wife all sorts of horrible names and claiming he had cheated on her while they were still married. I was always closer to my brothers and my dad than to my mom because she was always cruel to me. Long story short, my stepmom passed away in a terrible car accident. My dad called my mom in the middle of the night to let her know he'd pick us up early so we could attend the funeral. Instead, she decided to take us on a fun day trip to celebrate something. It was the happiest we'd ever seen her. When we realized what had actually happened and started crying, she told us only worthless people cry over, __. As you'd expect, everything exploded after that. My dad went to court for full custody and only allowed visitation for her. He always kept communication open and even paid for us to visit her after she moved away, but she was still terrible. The moment we turned 18, we started cutting contact. The last time we saw her was at my high school graduation, where she made sure everyone who'd listened knew how ungrateful we were. Her husband joined in and called us names too. Since then, total no contact. 3 years ago, my brother Sam started dating her ex-stepdaughter. She had already heard all the stories and knew why we cut contact, but she thought we were just being dramatic. They had several arguments about it, but eventually she seemed to give up on her "you need to reconcile with your mother" crusade. During wedding planning, there were no red flags, nothing suspicious. Then we arrived at the church and, surprise, our mom, her husband, and their 2 kids were sitting right in the front row. I panicked and called my brothers. Sam thought maybe somehow she had found out and crashed the ceremony, so he called his fiancée to warn her about possible drama, but she calmly said it was fine because she had invited them. Sam hung up and asked me to go get him while our older brother handled the mess at the church. We went back home and locked ourselves in while his ex, her family, and friends tried to convince him to come to his senses. Mom's husband even called to say he always knew we were worthless. When the dust settled, most of Sam's friends were on his side, along with almost everyone from our dad's family. The bride's parents threatened to sue for the money they'd spend if he didn't marry her, but Sam said he'd rather pay them back than marry someone who betrayed him. Our immediate family is 100% behind Sam, but the backlash has been intense. Edit. We're all doing better now, thank you. Some people asked, no, she hasn't apologized. In fact, she texted my older brother Joey saying she thought it would be a sweet wedding gift for her, since she values family. My dad bought them a house as a wedding gift, but only Sam's name is on the deed. She had a set of keys for when they moved in, but the locks have already been changed. My cousins and I are moving all of Sam's stuff out of their apartment this week. We're not worried about lawsuits, but we'll talk to a lawyer just in case. We also found out that Mom and her family are still in town, but since we're all staying at our childhood home for a few days, we don't really care. Dad's heartbroken for Sam but is doing his best to lift his spirits, with help from my boyfriend and sister-in-law. I had to deactivate my social media because of the hateful messages, but the more people hear what really happened, the less it happens. I still feel bad for Sam's public humiliation, but he comes first. Edit 2. We're 34, 32, and 28. The ex-fiancé is 30. We're not in the US. I asked Joey about what happened afterward at the church. It went exactly as I imagined. He stood up and told everyone that Sam wasn't coming and that they should please go home. He also said that all gifts from our side of the family would be returned as soon as possible. He escorted the ex out of the church, but when someone from her family told her what was happening, she started screaming and crying, calling Sam non-stop. Mom tried to talk to Joey, but he didn't even look at her, so she started fake crying loudly about how horrible we all were, and a few people even tried to comfort her. That's her classic move. Joey and his wife ignored her completely. When they left the church, the ex was waiting outside demanding to see Sam, but Joey said no. She then asked what to do about the reception, and he told her that if she didn't want the venue, he'd arrange for the food to be donated to the staff so it wouldn't go to waste. Everyone was yelling, except me. I refused to give Mom the satisfaction. Later that day, Joey, his wife, and I went home after picking up groceries and fast food. We've been there ever since, eating together like kids again, just with 2 extra people this time. We asked Sam if he wanted everyone to leave, but he said he wanted us to stay. We had all taken time off after the wedding anyway, so it's fine. When the ex came to the gate, it was clear she wasn't going to use the venue, so my sister-in-law called the caterers with Sam's info, told them to keep the food, and even sent extra tips for their work. Looks like we'll get back all the alcohol Dad paid for, so it's going to be a very boozy New Year's Eve. Some people asked why my dad even married my mom, and the answer is simple: he truly loved her. He believed she was kind and good-hearted. Turns out, she wasn't. But he realized no one, except maybe her disgusting husband, would marry her unless she pretended to be nice. He even considered staying with her until we were grown, but she just kept getting worse. Sometimes she'd act sweet, and he'd think maybe she'd changed, but then she'd flip again. As for my ex-sister-in-law, we have no doubt she genuinely believes Mom is a good woman with ungrateful children. Mom can be extremely charming, and for some people, mocking others is funny as long as it's not aimed at them. But that doesn't excuse what she did. The only person Sam explained everything to was his boss, who had been at the church. He was very understanding and shocked by what Mom put us through since we're known to be pretty grounded people. Dad said it was a shock for everyone and told us we can stay home as long as we need. Sam will move back in for now. I showed my family the post, and they were touched by all the support. Sam wants everyone to know that his ex never showed any concerning behavior before this. He truly believed she understood his upbringing. He agreed to meet with her and her parents today, but only at our house, with us there for support. So, it's going to be an interesting visit. Update 1. Extra information. Sam lost some money, but nothing that's going to affect him badly. The bride's parents had paid for her wedding dress, an elegant cake, and part of the honeymoon. His ex was never exactly their favorite future daughter-in-law, but we really believed she loved Sam. We have zero contact with Mom's side of the family. Joey used to keep light contact with our grandmother, but after his own wedding, another near disaster, he cut her off too. Mom's creepy comments about me wanting to be Dad's wife came from her twisted belief that it was inappropriate for a father to have one-on-one days with his daughter. The thing is, Dad also had separate days with each of us, me, Sam, and Joey, and also family days together. He always made sure to spend quality time with each of us. She's sick. We don't talk much about our childhood publicly, so when people ask about our parents, the standard answer is simply, just my dad, or my dad and my brothers. Most people assume our mom is dead, which conveniently saves us from explaining why we don't speak to her. Mom's stepkids are both men in their early 30s. Dad's had a long-term girlfriend for years now. We really like her. She's been busy lately but made it clear we have her full support. Now, the actual update. I was wondering why Sam even agreed to meet with his ex after completely cutting her off. Turns out, she had sent photos and videos of all his belongings thrown on the floor to Sam's best friend, Tom, threatening that she'd burn and destroy everything if Sam didn't talk to her. Tom went straight to see Sam, told him what happened, and warned him they needed to get into the apartment before she actually did something. So, Tom, Joey, a couple of cousins, and my boyfriend went together and retrieved his clothes, electronics, and important papers. Sam said he didn't care about the rest and even joked that they were the fastest moving crew he'd ever seen. The meeting itself was, for lack of a better word, ridiculous. She arrived with her parents and sisters, tried to speak privately with Sam, and when he refused, she just started talking. Not once did she apologize. She said it wasn't her fault that we didn't understand the value of a true family, and that we were raised to hate mothers. Her excuse was that she only wanted Sam to learn to appreciate mothers, because she was afraid he'd take her kids away someday, since, according to her, that's what we were taught to do. Sam stayed quiet until she crossed the line and said, "Your family is like a cult, and your father is a terrible parent," while staring right at my dad. You can imagine, those words are off limits. No one insults our father, ever. Sam completely lost it. He told her she was a hateful liar, that he felt disgusted even holding her hand, and that he was thankful the universe made me chronically punctual, because otherwise he'd be married to her by now. He told her staying with a cheating husband, like her mother does, is not something to be proud of. That she had faked being a good person just to get him to marry her. He laid out every small thing he had chosen to overlook because he genuinely loved her, or at least the person he thought she was. He told her he would never forgive her for the pain she caused our family, but that he didn't hate her, because hating her would mean wasting energy thinking about her, and she wasn't worth it. He ended by saying she'd had more than enough time to explain herself, and since she chose to play the victim, he would be the one to tell everyone why he never showed up to the wedding. It was brutal, but cathartic and absolutely necessary for Sam. Her parents said nothing, though their faces were red with embarrassment. She cried. Her sisters tried defending her in their parents' marriage, expecting my family to argue back, but we didn't. Then Sam looked at her father and said he was free to sue if he wanted, but if he did, Sam would air all of their family's dirty laundry for the world to see. He doubted the man wanted that. Shockingly, the dad still insisted that Sam could try to work things out with his daughter because they weren't getting any younger, and every family fights. I have never rolled my eyes harder in my entire life. The rest of the meeting was purely logistics, returning gifts, stopping their family's harassment, canceling and refunding the honeymoon, and changing the locks. The ex kept crying, trying to talk to Sam, but he was completely in business mode, emotionless. The only time he replied directly was when she said she was keeping the engagement ring, to which he said, "No one asked for it back." They left without further trouble. When the alcohol delivery arrived later, Mom and her husband slipped in through the gate while it was open. She said she just wanted to talk to her babies, and Dad immediately told her to leave. She kept screaming that he'd raised us wrong, that we had shamed her with our behavior, that she couldn't believe we were such awful people, and that we clearly needed to reconcile with her because we lacked maternal love. Well, she was right about one thing, that's the pathetic result of her version of motherly love. At that point, Joey came out and told her to leave because the police were already on their way. She took it as an opportunity to cry harder. It was the first time in about 10 years he'd spoken directly to her. She tried to sweet-talk him, asking him to have dinner with her and her husband. Joey just said, "Leave. The only news I ever want to hear from you is about your funeral, so I can celebrate." There was hysterical screaming, and her husband started shouting too, demanding an apology and threatening to hit Joey. Dad and Joey went back inside and waited until they finally left, then locked the gate. Some people have trouble understanding why we reacted that way, but what I've written here about our mother is only the tip of the iceberg. Dad wasn't proud of what Joey said, but he understood it needed to come out, and that Joey spoke for all of us. Maybe that makes us bad people, but we honestly never want to see that woman again. We're all going to family therapy now, in addition to individual sessions. Sam doesn't even want the house anymore, but Dad says to take things slowly. The first step is healing his heart. We've been having movie marathons, mostly horror, with some Disney classics sprinkled in. We even made a drama bingo game about all the things that could possibly happen next, because I guess if we're dramatic, we might as well own it. We love each other, we were raised to treat people kindly, but yes, we can be petty when pushed. I also feel better knowing she humiliated herself. And while I wouldn't wish being left at the altar on anyone, I'd do it again in a heartbeat, because I love my brother more than I could ever feel sorry for her. We'll probably take a family trip eventually, but for now, we're just enjoying a staycation. To the person who said Joey's a hero, you're right. We couldn't ask for a better brother and friend. We've read all your comments. Thank you for letting me vent, for the awards, and for all the kind messages. Sorry if my English isn't perfect. The names, Joey and Samson, are obviously fake, but Daniela, that's the real name of the ex. Note, my brothers have been reading your comments too. They want you to know we're aware of how lucky we are and we truly appreciate all the positivity. They want to say, it gets better for anyone going through something similar. You're all welcome to join our little cult, in quotes. Edit. We talked about taking a fun trip for the holidays, but for now, we're considering throwing a big party to make use of all that leftover alcohol. Still debating how smart that is, though. Sam's heart may be broken, but there's no chance he'd ever go back to her. Not even if she had apologized. Update 2. First, some clarifications. If you want to send me a message, that's fine, even if it's to insult us. Just know that I'll only respond publicly. I was not parentified, for whoever wrote me that awful essay about it. My brothers spent time with me because they wanted to. We had special days together, sometimes just the two of us, sometimes all of us. They did whatever activities they wanted, had plenty of friends, traveled with me or on their own, and so on. There were babysitters, family, and my dad. No one ever forced them to take care of me against their will. They had a lot of freedom, within reason. My parents divorced when I was 3, and although custody was technically shared, we spent about 90% of the time with Dad. We never visited Mom unless at least 2 of us went together. The only times Sam and I went to see her after turning 18 were when I was asked to visit and they didn't want me to go alone. We've all been in therapy for a long time. We're only doing special sessions now because we saw our mother again, though Joey's the only one who actually interacted with her. And for the record, Sam and I know how to stand up for ourselves. We didn't ask Joey to confront her, he did that entirely on his own. Why didn't Dad go to the church with Joey? Because Sam asked him to go home. None of us thought he needed to see that woman again, even if he had to deal with her later. Sam has cried. He's not a monster. His heart is broken. He really thought he'd spend the rest of his life with Daniela. He thought he was a good judge of character. He thought he'd never have to see our mother again. There are a lot of emotions right now, but because of how we were raised, we've gotten very good at controlling them, especially around people we don't trust or like. It was a survival skill we learned from how we were treated growing up. Joey used to have some contact with our grandmother, but that ended when she invited our mother as her +1 to Joey's wedding. There was no religious ceremony, the venue had private security and a strict, do not admit, list. Joey sent her a letter afterward and never spoke to her again. We didn't even attend her funeral. The wedding was supposed to have around 250 guests. When she made the seating chart, Daniela used different names, that's how we didn't notice. Also, Daniela isn't Brazilian. Dad asked me to clarify that none of his kids are alcoholics. He's worried people might think that, even though this is anonymous. Anyway, this week has been absolute chaos. Those of you who predicted the pregnancy tactic were spot on. She announced it on social media. People went crazy and started calling Sam to ask if it was true. Sam called her and told her to delete it. She kept insisting she was pregnant. He told her again to delete it and meet him in person to talk. She deleted the post, and agreed to meet him. But somehow, this insane woman thought he wanted to get back together. I went with Sam. She was all smiles until she saw me walk in. Then she started crying, holding her stomach. When Sam asked if she was really pregnant, she said yes, that she didn't want her child to grow up in a broken family. Sam told her they were going to the doctor right now to confirm. She cried harder, screaming that he didn't trust her. Long story short, she wasn't pregnant. But she went online again and posted that Sam was forcing her to have an abortion and that she was devastated. As you can imagine, that was a nightmare. People started calling Sam again, overwhelmed by the drama and not knowing what to believe anymore. When my sister-in-law Anna found out about the posts and the meeting, she called Daniela. I don't know what was said in that conversation, but I've never seen Anna that furious in my life. The posts were taken down, but Anna wrote an email with all the relevant details, including the fact that Daniela was never pregnant, and sent it to the entire wedding guest list. This morning we learned Daniela had a breakdown after leaving multiple voice messages for Sam, saying that if she couldn't be with him, she didn't want to live. That's straight out of our mother's playbook. Sam called the police immediately and explained everything. Her family forced her into therapy, and she's currently under observation. We take no pleasure in what happened, but we also don't want any further involvement. We're changing our phone numbers, already in process. Our mother emailed Anna threatening to sue her for defamation because of the mass email, but we're not worried. Anna's parents are amazing, they've made it clear they're on our side and completely support how she handled it. Joey was furious, but Anna convinced him to let it go and move forward. Mom's husband, as always, was a delight, sarcasm. Dad's considering a restraining order, though they're not very effective here. Yesterday we had a big get-together at home, and it was actually great. There was karaoke, dancing, good food and drinks, games, and even a bouncy castle, because why not? We love those. Most people avoided bringing up the wedding or the posts, but when it did come up, it was brief and respectful. Dad had already given most of the leftover alcohol to his employees, letting them each take a bottle home. He's also adding some to the company Christmas baskets. This year, we'll spend the holidays together, and traveling. I told Sam he should repaint the house, but he doesn't want to live there. He's going to rent it out instead. I joked that I'd just elope or skip having a wedding entirely to avoid this kind of drama. He looked at me and said bluntly that when my time comes, I'm getting the biggest party if that's what I want. So yes, still the best brother ever. Thank you all for the kind messages, the awards, and the support. No thanks to the rude ones. And to all the good Danielas out there, sorry, the go to hell wasn't for you. Update 3. Thank you all for your continued interest. You're all so kind, and it's always a pleasure to come back here and update you on the latest from our little cult. First, a few notes. Hello to the best subreddit and YouTube community, you're officially part of our family legend now. I read every comment and message. Some people mentioned that I must have missed a female figure in my life, but honestly, I had my grandmother, aunts, and others. My dad's girlfriend, Rita, isn't a mother figure, and that's perfectly fine. She's not a bad person for it. When I got my first period and told my dad, he already had everything ready. Then he told my brothers, and each one came up with his own preparation plan, with completely different approaches and things the others didn't think of. Long story short, I had 3 men trying to take care of me, and they even made a little presentation about it. It might sound super awkward for me, but trust me, it was even more awkward for them. It's one of those hilarious memories that reminds me just how much they've always cared about me. Rita is amazing, and we love her. She's totally fine not marrying my dad. He doesn't want to remarry anyway, but if he ever did, we'd support him fully. As for Daniela, she's fine, I guess. Her sisters tried to stir up more drama and paint us as the villains, but after Anna's email, no one's buying their act. One of her sisters even got dumped by her boyfriend because he didn't want to be tied to such a toxic family. I won't say where we live or what Dad does for a living, so please stop asking. We have new numbers, new social accounts, and we're planning to move soon. I keep a little note with the fake and real names so I don't mix them up when I write my posts in Word, mostly to keep my rambling organized. Dad wanted me to tell you all that your applications to join our cult have been officially approved. Anyway, I looked back at the last update and can't believe it was from early November. I mostly have good news this time. Sam is doing well. He's taking some time off work. His boss completely understands and told him there will always be a place for him when he's ready to come back. He's still living with Dad and has plenty of savings, so that's not a concern. He's started running and plans to complete a marathon next year. He's slowly returning to his usual funny self, and he and Dad have even started repainting the house and doing wall murals. It's hilarious to watch, they're having a blast. Daniela sent him a letter, but he returned it unopened. The house was officially put up for rent, and he's at peace with that. Now for my own news, I'm engaged. Apparently, the proposal had been in the works for months. When I joked about eloping, my now fiancé, Matt, panicked because he thought I had somehow discovered his plan. He talked to Sam, who already knew, because he didn't want to make things awkward, but Sam told him it would be awkward not to do it. He also talked to Joey and Dad. Dad really made him sweat when he asked for my hand, saying, "It's not mine to give, but they tell me it was just a joke." The proposal happened earlier this month. I'm excited, but I think Dad's even more excited than I am. He says he's coming with me even if it's just a civil ceremony. And as amazing as that is, the biggest news isn't even mine. Joey and Anna were on an adoption list, and a couple of weeks ago, they got the call. They have a baby. The most beautiful, sweet, perfect baby in the world. The adoption is final. In our country, that's usually the case with newborns or near newborns. We all knew they wanted to adopt, but when we heard that she was legally theirs, there were so many tears, all happy ones. Dad's gone full grandpa mode, and even though some things got ugly this year, this is easily the best thing that's happened to us in a long time. Mom found out about the baby and demanded to be introduced. She was given our version of a restraining order. She's not laying eyes on that baby, not if we can help it. That's the only bad news. With the new COVID wave, we decided to stay home. And now with the newest member of the family, we obviously wouldn't be traveling anyway. We had a small Christmas gathering, part baby welcome, part baby shower, part engagement party. My niece and I didn't attend in person because she's too little, but we joined over Zoom. We all agreed to give Sam silly gifts, t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, all with Julia Roberts on them, because, you know, she's the runaway bride of the family. The reason Joey and I are considering moving is that we both live in apartments and want houses instead. We're still healing, and we know there's work to do, but we have so much to be grateful for, and we'd rather focus on that. The negative is just background noise now. No matter what happens, I'll always be thankful for my family. I think this might be my last update, everyone. I know the most recent ones have been mostly drama-free and maybe not as thrilling, but honestly, that's what we're aiming for. I don't plan to delete anything. This account will stay up in case something ever happens that's worth updating about. I wish you all a wonderful end of the year and an amazing 2022. Update 4. Hello again, cult. I guess it's time to catch up anyone who still wants updates from our little sect. To keep the rhythm going, let's start with some notes. By popular demand, yes, our native language is Spanish. In our country, adoptions are final, government-managed, and rarely open. Joey and Anna had been waiting a long time since they decided adoption was how they wanted to build their family. We joke about it by saying, Habemus baby, like when the Pope is announced. We're now 35, 33, and 29. HB was originally supposed to mean husband, but honestly, I love how people interpreted it as hus bastard. It works both ways. Joey and I moved as planned last year, and this year has been surprisingly good. Just minor drama here and there. And yes, Daniela can still go to hell. Alright, let's start with the bad news first. Daniela came back swinging in a way we didn't expect. She's pregnant, and she's telling anyone who'll listen that Sam is the father. Thankfully, that's literally impossible, since he wasn't even in the country when the baby would have been conceived. But of course, she had no way of knowing that. Sam has repeatedly offered to take a paternity test, but she keeps refusing. Legally, Sam's completely in the clear. He just feels bad for the baby. Daniela's father actually did try to sue Sam for emotional distress on behalf of his two daughters, Daniela and the other one whose boyfriend left her, but nothing came of it, because Joey handled it. Surprise, Joey's a lawyer. Relevant detail, I promise. Sam decided not to pursue anything against them. He has enough on his plate and honestly just feels sorry for that whole family. Now, our mom insisted on meeting the baby. Yeah, that's never going to happen. Then she dusted off one of her favorite tactics, claiming she has cancer. She emailed Joey and Anna through their work accounts, begging to meet the baby because she was very sick and would probably need a transplant. See, this is like the 5th time she's had cancer. Total number of actual cancer diagnoses? 0. She loves the attention, the suffering, the drama, all the stuff bad people live for. Of course, we didn't believe her. But we didn't expect her to humiliate herself so badly. She contacted Anna's mom on Facebook. Anna's mom is this lovely, devout Catholic woman, so our mother must have thought she'd be easy to manipulate. She told her about the cancer and how heartbroken she was not to meet the baby. Anna's mom, being polite but sharp, started asking her questions about the diagnosis and treatment, questions that made no sense, as expected. Then she blocked her and posted the screenshots publicly. It turned into high school drama, except with old people and hilarious replies. The baby, by the way, is happy, healthy, and thriving. The only controversy about her was what to call Rita, not from Rita, but from our mother, who insisted Rita had no right to be called Grandma. Anna and Joey talked to Rita, and everyone agreed that as far as we're concerned, she is Grandma Rita, and Mom can't do a thing about it. Sam's doing great. He left his job and started his own business. He still lives in the family house, rents out the other one, and is kind of seeing someone new. She's lovely, knows everything that happened, makes amazing cakes, knits, and fits right in. We like her a lot. They're taking things slow, but it's really nice to see him with someone like that. He's also still painting rooms with Dad, and the results are, please remember that we love them, hilariously terrible. Like kindergarten-level murals. But they're having fun, so whatever. Dad got COVID for the first time, and it scared him so much he decided to update his will. That's where Joey's profession becomes relevant again. They wanted Sam and me to know when it was done. Everything Dad owns is divided equally into 4 parts, one for each of his 3 kids, and one for any grandchild. However, the family house isn't being divided, it's being transferred to me. That threw me off a little, but Dad and Joey explained that both of them wanted me to have it, as long as Sam agreed. He does, and he's genuinely happy about it. They didn't offer much explanation beyond, it's the right thing to do. I suspect it's because I'm the baby of the family, and that's fine by me. Joey bought a house in the same neighborhood as the family home, so even though we're not on the same block, we're close by. Matt, my fiancé, and I decided not to buy anything since I'll eventually own the house. We've already moved in, and it's been interesting, but really nice. Dad's semi-retired now and spends more days at Rita's place, so it works out perfectly for everyone. Sam, of course, can stay as long as he wants, but his murals have to go. We're still engaged, happy, and loving life with the baby around. I'm not pregnant, but we did adopt a cat this spring. We're planning a wedding for December and honestly couldn't ask for a better end to the year. That's it, no drama, or at least nothing major. We're moving forward, healing, and that's exactly how we like it. If you're wondering why I'm posting now, One of us is a big fan of Best of Redditor updates, and it reminded us of our old posts. So, greetings from the cult. We wish you all an amazing last few months of 2022. Edit, we accept anyone who's not an idiot. The Facebook drama is absolutely hilarious. It turned into a bunch of people over 60 or 70 arguing about how awful it is to fake cancer, be a bad mother, etc. It was also full of emojis and badly used memes. Update 5. Hello, Reddit. First of all, keeping up with tradition, we now have 2 cats. Sam moved in with his girlfriend, and we couldn't be happier to see him truly happy again. Dad is halfway moved in with Rita. It's bittersweet, but overall, we're all staying positive and supportive of each other. Let's start with the bad news. Turns out there was cancer on our mother's side, just not hers. One of her stepsons had it and sadly passed away earlier this year. She's been milking that tragedy for every bit of sympathy she can get, which is honestly disgusting. Of course, we empathize with the loss, but that doesn't change our stance of no contact with her or anyone in that family. Daniela had her baby, a beautiful little boy who, as expected, is not Sam's. Not that we ever doubted it. She tried to get him to acknowledge paternity and sign papers, but he refused. After the DNA test, she had no ground to stand on. She lost it when she found out Sam was in a serious relationship, and even more when he moved in with his girlfriend. She still believes he's the love of her life and remains obsessed. She tried cyber-harassing Sam's girlfriend, but this woman is made of steel. Oh, and yes, the baby's father is apparently a married man in his 50s. Another disaster, but thankfully, not ours to deal with. Sam's doing great. Still in therapy, we all are, but so much better now. His girlfriend has become a beloved part of our family. She knows everything that's happened and fits in perfectly. He's thriving in other areas too. He ran his first marathon. Not his best time, but he did it. Joey, Anna, and the baby are doing wonderfully. They're still on the adoption list because they'd love to have at least one more child. I also wanted to explain something again. In our country, adoptions aren't done through agencies. You apply to a government list after interviews and background checks to see if you're a good candidate. When a match happens, the baby is yours, permanently. I know I'm lazy with details, but remember, we're not in the US and things work differently here. Anyway, the baby is the best baby in the world. Yes, I'm biased, but she's amazing. We don't spoil her too much, that's a family rule. She has her own room in our house, a nursery at Rita's, and even a playpen at Sam's place since they're still house hunting and working from home. Dad basically lives with Rita now. They're both happy and have taken a few trips together. They love being grandparents and are super active. Now they joke that they have 3 grandkids, because the cats count too. It's hilarious, especially considering Dad didn't even like cats at first. Now he takes photos of all his babies, prints them, and proudly shows them to his friends. Sometimes his friends get confused, because he gets so excited and switches between talking about the cats and the baby. He also buys way too many toys, but apparently, that's what grandparents do. We got married in December. Dad walked me down the aisle, though we did things a bit non-traditionally for our country. Joey was Matt's best man, and Sam was my maid of honor, or as he called himself all throughout planning, Julio. Mom tried to crash the wedding and even tried to guilt Anna's mother into letting her in, but Anna's mom didn't say a word to her. Some of Mom's relatives said it was disgraceful to have Rita there instead of my real mother. Personally, I think what's disgraceful is defending her behavior. The wedding was perfect, no stress, no scenes, no crying, except the good kind. No one ran away, no one caused drama. We're now remodeling parts of the family house to make it feel more like ours instead of my old childhood room. So far, everything's going great for our cult. Sam received fewer gifts than Julia Roberts this year, but he wears his Runaway Bride t-shirts proudly all year round. One last note, Sam's girlfriend actually suggested the idea of proposing to him when the time comes. So who knows? Maybe this time, someone actually makes it to the altar. Bonus edit. A few of you asked how Sam's girlfriend handled Daniela's latest harassment. Easy, she took screenshots of everything and just kept posting. From what we've heard through the grapevine, Daniela was furious. She thought Sam's girlfriend would back down, but she didn't. Sam told her he'd support whatever decision she made, and Daniela eventually stopped because she realized she couldn't intimidate her. Plus, her own life's a complete circus. Apparently, her baby's father's wife found out, and her grandmother disinherited her for being a horrible person. Which is sad, I guess, but honestly, that was the line for their family, not all the chaos she caused for Sam and us. Update 6. Hello, cult. For the 10 people who still care, here's a little bit of everything that's happened since my last update. As always, a few notes first. We adopted a dog, and my dad is now a great-grandfather. My dad is one of 6 siblings. I hadn't mentioned that before because it wasn't relevant, but for this update, it is. The proposal didn't get ruined. It's been a roller coaster of a year, but the cult remains strong. This update comes with a trigger warning: suicide. Let's get into it. Sadly, one of my uncles suffered a stroke, and that set everything in motion. For my grandmother, it was a terrible shock, the youngest of her sons being the one affected. He was recovering slowly, but the depression and frustration became too much, and he took his own life. It was one of the hardest deaths in the family because he had been perfectly healthy just months earlier, and everyone thought he was getting better. My dad fell apart, and it was heartbreaking to see him like that. My grandmother's health also began to decline. She was elderly but had been doing fine before. We were terrified for Dad, but he slowly improved over the months, and by the end of summer, he was himself again. Grandma passed away in late November from natural causes, though we all believe it was from a broken heart. She kept saying that parents shouldn't have to bury their own children. The holidays were bittersweet, as you can imagine, but we pushed through, as we always do. Sorry for starting with the sad part, but it's important context for what came next. Our mother, being her usual monster self, tried to attend both funerals and talk to us, but it didn't go well for her. At Grandma's funeral, everyone had their guard down, and none of us noticed she'd slipped into the church. She came up to me and grabbed my arm, saying we needed to talk. She said she didn't want to wait until one of us died to reunite the family, and that, as the women of the family, it was our duty to fix everything, because, according to her, our family fell apart because of me. I told her to let go, but when she didn't, and kept spewing nonsense about how horrible I am and how I'll go to hell if I don't fix things, before it's too late, I told her, if we end up on the same level of hell, I apologize. If not, I hope you die soon. She started screaming and crying, making a scene, but eventually got thrown out. And yes, I'm proud of what I said. Maybe I'll end up in hell with her, but honestly, I don't care. The dog we have used to belong to my uncle. My aunt asked us to look after him while my uncle was in rehab, and after he passed, she asked us to keep him permanently. He'd been his companion, and she couldn't bear to have him around. He's very friendly, and the cats eventually got used to him. After many fights and tears, they've finally learned to behave, and sometimes even nap together. Joey, Anna, and the baby are doing great. They're considering getting pregnant because they don't want a big age gap between the kids, and adoption can be unpredictable. We've all promised to support whatever they decide. We all take turns taking care of the baby, and we see each other constantly, just like always. Joey also started running with Sam, so now they're running buddies. They're super competitive, and it's hilarious to watch them. They were actually with Grandma when she passed, peacefully, in her sleep. She was happy, surrounded by family, especially her great-granddaughter. The baby also received Grandma's last handmade items, which makes them very special. In my last update, I mentioned that Sam's girlfriend might propose to him. I swear I didn't jinx it. He said yes, and they're married now. It might seem fast, and they had planned a long engagement, but Grandma asked him to consider doing it sooner rather than later. He couldn't say no to her. Their wedding ended up being the last big family event she attended. Despite everything, it was a beautiful wedding, joyful, emotional, and yes, he made it to the altar. We still laugh about that part. Dad was in full clown mode that day and decided to organize a big family photo shoot back at the family house, just us, of course. Now he has a photo with his kids, his grandkids, and great-grandkids, since one of the cats had kittens. Sam is incredibly happy, and his wife was amazing throughout the planning, such a different experience compared to the last time. Matt and I are doing well too, considering everything. We've decided to start our own family soon, beyond our feline and canine children. We try to host family gatherings as often as space allows, and so far, we've been great hosts, except for Christmas dinner, which I accidentally ruined because I forgot to buy some crucial ingredients and got frustrated. Thankfully, Rita and Matt went hunting for replacements and saved the day. Since then, I've been officially put in charge of the alcohol. Honestly, I'm not complaining. We're still doing our best and having fun. And yes, There have been more bouncy castles at family parties. Seriously, more adults should try them. Here's hoping 2024 is better than 2023, for everyone. Edit, the furry babies already have way too many toys. Dad's obsessed with all the kids, human and animal alike. Update 7. Hi, Reddit. I hope this post finds you all well. Some clarifications, because, at this point, it's tradition. If you want to share anything, please do, we're completely fine with it. I still mostly use fake names. At this point, we're up to 4 cats, 1 dog, and a fish tank. A turtle might be next. It's been an interesting year, some amazing things, some good, and some downright awful. Dad and Rita got married. Everything with Grandma's estate has been settled, and everyone received something. No hard feelings anywhere, though we did have to make adjustments since my uncle was listed in the will, and he passed before her. And yes, Daniela can still go to hell. No time to waste there. Let's start with the horrible part, because it's ridiculous and still makes me angry. Daniela decided that since her life is a complete mess, she'd try to drag Sam down with her. She accused him of abandoning her son, who, once again, is not his child. She accused him of being abusive, he never was. And then, she accused him of grooming some of her relatives while they were together. That never happened. It was incredibly stressful for Sam and his wife, Lola, because not everyone around them knows the full story or the years of drama this woman has caused. Of course, they immediately fought back. And then this delusional ghoul said she would take it all back if Sam got back together with her, because he was the only one for her. Lola did exactly what she did last time, she posted the screenshots. But not only that, she went nuclear. She exposed every bit of dirty laundry she knew about Daniela's family, including, but not limited to, the fact that one of her sisters used to be a sugar baby. Beautiful, right? Justice served with style. But honestly, when someone accuses your husband of grooming, all gloves are off. In the end, Daniela deleted everything, retracted her accusations, and Sam finally sued her, because he's done with her bullshit. Apparently, she's still wearing the engagement ring. She needs serious help. Her family made a huge scene about the lawsuit, but Sam and Lola told them to shut up, or they'd go even lower. As for the other disaster of the year, Mom tried to contact us again, this time claiming her brother was seriously ill. We checked, and yes, he is sick, but we still have zero interest in reconnecting with her or anyone in that branch of the family. It might sound harsh, but we know what even the smallest amount of contact would mean with her. We're not opening that door again. Other than that, everyone's doing really well. Sam and Lola are great together, they balance each other perfectly. She's wonderful, and we all love her. Sam, Lola, and I go running together, and it makes me so happy to see things finally feeling normal instead of walking on eggshells around a sister-in-law. Dad and Rita are doing great too. At one point, Rita had to put her foot down about how much stuff Dad was bringing into her house. So, they compromised, kept part of it, put some in storage, and gave away the rest to relatives. That was their biggest argument ever, and it was hilarious watching them sort everything out with a whiteboard behind them like it was a team project. Dad still isn't completely over the losses from last year, though. Sometimes, he breaks down, and it's scary to see. We just hope he doesn't spiral like Grandma did, that fear still lingers. Joey and Anna are solid as ever. Baby Sophia is doing wonderfully and truly has her tribe. Anna's mom hasn't been doing well, we suspect early dementia, though we're praying it's not that severe. Because of that, baby plans are on hold for them. If they're ever called again for adoption, that'll be different, but for now, their focus is on Sophia, Dad's health, and Anna's mom's diagnosis. Matt and I are doing great with our furry children. We added a fish tank because Sophia loves watching the fish. Apparently, Sam had always wanted one too, so, why not? We each received little keepsakes from Grandma, and it was wonderful. We shared stories and beautiful memories of her. Matt decided to start his PhD, and I'm so proud of him. Right now, I'm basically Sophia's main babysitter, and I won't pretend I don't love it. We walk the dog, play with the kittens, read books, feed the fish, and talk about everything. I know how that sounds, but I love our little conversations. We're even considering getting a turtle because, according to Sophia, it's the coolest animal in the world. We went camping once, she hated it with a fiery passion. So, yeah, never again. I wish I could say I see a lot of positives in the near future, but really, I just hope our loved ones stay healthy and safe. Thank you for being here, so I don't feel like I'm shouting into the void. We've actually taken some of your advice, like what to do with the drawings on the walls, and I want to take a moment for this. Some of you have shared your own stories about toxic or abusive relatives. I hope you're in a better place now. If our weird, tangled family story has helped you even a little, I'm glad. I'm sorry I haven't replied to your messages, but please know I've read all of them. It does get better. There's a lot of good people in the world. Edit. What I share here is a summary, but Sam and Lola have dealt, and continue to deal, with a lot. Daniela isn't winning anything, but they want to keep the legal paperwork solid. We just hope she finally leaves our family alone. She's still obsessed with Sam. It's ridiculous and genuinely frightening. We move in similar circles, and she's turned into the classic psycho ex-girlfriend.